right, welcome back to the Art of Football 365. This is episode 54. We got a special guest today. His name is JTuck. I'm very excited to introduce him to you guys and have him tell you a little bit about himself today on our show and kind of get to know him and talk some football. Very excited for this. Kind of been a fan of his work that he puts out on social media. Found him on Twitter. I follow a lot of Cowboys reporters. But before we get started, as you can see, we got a new guy joining the show tonight, Carter Budens. My co-host, Gannon Ruckman, is out tonight, kind of dealing with some stuff with baseball and school. He's got a lot of stress built up right now, so he's going to have this week off. We're going to let Carter kind of come in and talk some Bears football and kind of hate on Andy Dalton a little bit and do a little bit of everything. But before we dive into all this, Gronk spike the subscribe button for us. Leave a like. Leave a comment. We love the feedback. We love interacting with you guys. And check out our three sponsors, Driftless Quality Wear, 312 Beef and Sausage, and Bacher Auto Group. Those guys have supported us, so support them. All right, but before we get going, JTuck, I want you to kind of tell the audience where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's your boy JTuck, man. And you guys can find me on my YouTube channel, Cowboys Fans Only. It's a growing community, so salute to everyone who subscribes to that channel. So definitely check me out there. And also, as Bryce said, follow me on Twitter at JTuck151. And then also, if you're looking for some Dallas Cowboys merch, we have our official CFO store at cowboysfansonly.com, man. So once again, thanks for having me on, fellas.
Yeah, no problem. It's the pleasure's all ours. We greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your night to come on here. And I will say I have been on your website. I like the merch on there. The merch is sweet. So
Appreciate it.
As soon as this broke college student starts to get some money in, I'll for sure make a purchase.
Yeah, but let me know, man. I got you.
For sure. So now obviously you got your socials down. So go ahead and give him a follow. It would mean a lot to us if you were to subscribe to him and check out his stuff just like ours. But now we kind of want to take a deeper look in and have you introduce yourself, kind of describe to our audience what your channel consists of and why you do what you do.
Yeah, so my channel, Cowboys Fans Only, it really started about, having a relationship with Cowboys fans. I live in Kansas City. So where I'm from, it's red territory everywhere. So I'm really kind of outnumbered down here. So, going through everything last year, it was like, what's my opportunity to really talk to Cowboys fans? Because everybody was going through a lot. And so, a lot of people who interact with me on a day-to-day basis for Twitter was like, man, start a channel. So what really inspired me to start the channel is just opening up the community and letting everyone have a voice. People think that I'm at certain standard in my career, which, I'm tremendously thankful for all the growth, but, not too long ago, I was just a guy on Twitter that nobody wanted to listen to. So what my community and my platform is about is just giving everybody a voice to speak about Dallas Cowboys football, because we're all passionate football fans at the end of the day, and your voice matters. So that's what the platform is really about. And, people chime in from all over not only the country, but around the world. We have people who chime in from Japan and Italy and Mexico and call in all sorts of crazy stuff, man. So it's really cool to see the Cowboys community and how big that imprint really is.
So have you always been like a big football junkie? I mean, how did you get all this started? I know you said a bunch of your friends said you should start a podcast, but what really made you make the decision to say, this is something that I love to do and I want to, continue and build at?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a football fan, back in the early days, the glory days, I would say, for Dallas Cowboys football. It seems so long ago. But really sparked it was Skywalker Steel. I mean, if you're not familiar with Skywalker, he does incredible work himself. Salute to A to Z Sports in Dallas. He was following me on Twitter for about 2 to 3 years, and he was always DMing me, inboxing me like, hey, man, start a channel. You have something. You just don't see it yet. And so one random night last year, he just brought me on his channel and he showed me how the chat interacted and how he kind of does things behind the scenes. And, we were sitting there having a conversation, talking Cowboys football for 4 hours. And from that moment, I was like, all right, I need to build my platform because I definitely enjoy it. And so once that kind of really happened, I propped open my laptop and my first video looks horrible, man. And, I go back and watch it. I think I was talking about the Dak Prescott contract. I believe that was my first video. So I was talking about that. And then, what really kind of boomed me is that I did a prediction of who was going to draft last year. and what my reaction would be. And of course, that reaction was for CeeDee Lamb. And so once it happened, you know, everyone kind of caught wind of it. Like, you did call it out. You called out CeeDee Lamb. You knew it was going to happen. So, you know, things started to escalate from there. And here we are today, man. So I'm thankful for every opportunity that I've gotten thus far.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually a fan of Skywalker Steel too. I check out his channel every once in a while.
Yeah.
As well. But for your channel, obviously, it took a couple people to get you to that point to start that channel. And now you're at 2.54K subs with 233 videos worth of content. And we're kind of a newer type of podcast. We've been going since last November, kind of just looking for something to do with COVID. And so I kind of want to ask you now, like, how did you go about growing your channel? Did it kind of just pick up steam and you started to notice subs piling up, or is there behind the scenes work that you put in to kind of grow your channel?
I think for me, it was just being consistent. You know, when I originally started, I was everywhere, man. There was some nights I was doing shows until like almost 4 a.m. And so it's really just about getting my voice out there and, you know, talking to so many different people on different platforms. But also what I was doing in that situation, I was building my skill set. So I was learning how to have different conversations. I was starting to dive a lot more into contracts and analytics and a variety of different things. But the people I tell a lot of people who's getting started is that we enjoy it. We're all football fans. And so it never felt like work to me. And so it was easy for me to drop a video and then go drop another video, then do 2 live shows and then eat some dinner and then go on another live show, because Cowboys football is what I love to do. I was either going to be tweeting about it for free and not doing anything, or I was going to be dropping content. And so, you know, once I really started, it was just being consistent, but also interacting with the fans. I think that's my biggest thing that helps drive me, is that I'm a person in the community. You know, whether you're a small channel, the largest channels, just starting or whatever, I'm just open to, you know, help you as much as I can. I'll come on your show. I'll interact with you on Twitter, because I was on the other side of the fence. I know what it was like to kind of reach out to some of these media guys and like, I'm not going to talk to you. You're nobody. Like, nah, I'll sit there and talk, because everyone deserves a voice. And so I think just doing those things, staying consistent, persistent, giving out great content, and also being myself, true to myself, those are the kind of things that help me grow.
I agree 100% with what you said. And I mean, that's kind of how it is in this situation. Like, we're kind of a smaller group so far. I mean, we got about 200 subs, 215. We're working our way up there, but for you to take the time out of your night to come on here is exactly what you just mentioned. You're helping out a smaller group. You're willing to work with the fans. I mean, I'm a Cowboys guy. Kind of a similar situation I had with Jeff Kavanaugh. I had him on the show. He took the time out of his night to come on and talk to us too, and he's a bigger guy. So this really means a lot.
Yeah.
But now the question that I want
I was going to say one thing before you transition.
go ahead.
Don't let the number of your subscribers dictate your voice, you know, because I know some people who have 400 subscribers, so it looks bad when you look at their YouTube channel, but they are some of the sharpest football minds on the planet. You know, a lot of the channels that I really watch, they're kind of the lower tier people because they're so knowledgeable. It's just, you know, there's algorithms, there's different things that goes into play. So don't let that really define you. It's all about your content and your voice and, you know, your passion for it. So that's my biggest advice when it comes to that.
That's fantastic advice. I appreciate that very much. But now the question I've been wanting to ask you: why the Dallas Cowboys? How did you become a fan of America's team, and how have you kind of stuck with this team and are willing to make content for them?
Yeah, man. So for like a lot of us, we're kind of born into it. So I was actually raised in Oklahoma. And so back then, you know, well, still today, Oklahoma is kind of like a Cowboys imprint. So because they're close to Texas, but they don't have their own team. So Dallas Cowboys football is all I know. Like when I was a child, you know, the Dallas Cowboys used to have their training camp at the University of Austin in Texas. And so I have pictures of being in UT, you know, with Troy Aikman. I was probably like 5 or 6 years old. And so it's all I've ever known. I couldn't even cheer for another team if I wanted to. So I kind of just grown into it. But it really didn't click, I would say, until like the 95 season, 94, 95 season, because Deion Sanders, I feel like Deion was that guy where I really sat back and was like, all right, that's what I want to be like. For those of you guys, you know, you're fairly young, like Deion was that guy. Like he had video games, he had rap songs, he had videos, commercials, and like he was just a polarizing figure. So once he became a Dallas Cowboy, that's when I really started to sit down and enjoy the game of football and kind of watch and learn, and fell in love with it. And like I said, Dallas Cowboys football is something that's in my blood. Like I couldn't get out of it even if I wanted to, because Lord knows I've tried.
I feel you there. I feel you there. So over all the years, who would you say is like I know you mentioned Deion Sanders, but is there a specific player that is your all-time favorite? Like for me, being a Bears fan, Devin Hester is my favorite of all time. And I still have favorites that come along the way, but looking back, like he was my favorite to watch, the most entertaining to watch. For you, and it can be, in the 90s or it could be now, but who is like your favorite player to watch and root for?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because Dion is really what rooted me to be a Cowboys fan, but this guy right here, 88, Des Bryant, like that's my heart, man. Like I love Des Bryant, 88. Someone pulled up some old tweets of mine. They're like, man, I thought you said you loved Dak, but when the whole Des situation kind of happened and he was let go, I wanted everybody gone. I wanted Dak gone. I wanted, Sean Lee, like everybody. I was done with everybody, man, because Des, the way he brings that passion, that fire, that fight. I watched Dez when he was playing at Oklahoma State, man, and he was one of those kids that I wanted badly because during that time, we kind of went through the transition of having Terrell Owens to Roy Williams, so things kind of dropped off a cliff, and Dez Bryant was just a shining light, man. So Dez is one of those guys, but besides Dez, I would definitely say it's prime time, man. Like prime time. I think about Dallas Cowboys football. I think about Deion Sanders, the bandana, the big stars on the jerseys, everything about that. I just love, man.
I agree with that answer. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. And were you ever able to meet any of those players that you kind of looked up to? And
not yet.
No.
So I've talking to Dez on Twitter before. That's about the closest, and I seen Dion. He was covering a Chiefs game here, and he was like, out and about. But I never got to actually shake their hand or meet them. But I feel like Dez would probably be the one player if I meet, I would be semi starstruck. Like, that's like that's the one. Like everyone else, I kind of been cool because I met, I got to interview Charles Haley before. Incredible player. I seen Michael Irvin. I seen Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. But like Dez would probably be the one guy where I'm just like, man, like it's Dez Bryant. So, not yet, but rumor is he's going to be at every Cowboys game. He's going to be there Monday night. So hopefully, I'm trying to maybe bump into Dez. What's up?
Yeah,
so.
squeeze your way into meeting him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't blame you at
exactly,
all.
Man.
I'm the same way with Dez. Like the passion and fire that he brought to the game. I know a lot of people knock on him for like making it seem almost like he's complaining on the sideline, where it's just a burning fire to win.
He just wanted to win. Like he didn't care about. I mean, of course he wanted to get his numbers, but he wanted to win, and that's what I'm all about. It's like I just love players like the jersey you're wearing right now, and Micah Parsons. I feel like he's kind of that's cut from that same ilk as Dez Bryant. Like he's going to want to win. Like hearing his comments the other day, like he wants to be on the field, he wants to help, and like I'm all for that, man.
Well, even on Hard Knocks, I mean, you could tell like even in the preseason game when he was like, Coach, give me a couple more plays.
Right.
He's like, why are you taking me out? He was like, you lied to me. You said I was going to get more plays. I mean, he's just like, you can tell he's got the dog in it. Like he's got the dog. I'm excited to watch him play. Oh, we do. Right. We definitely do. But you kind of told me a little bit about how you do some draft writing too.
Yeah. So where I partner with is the Fan to Fan Network. And so what it is like a lot of writers and also content creators around the NFL. We come together in collaborative effort, and we used to do a pregame show, but we haven't done it this year. But we just write a lot of articles about our team. So it really keeps you updated, because I say like the community, like the content creators, we are the pulse of the community. Like you're not going to get the in-depth knowledge when you go to ESPN or you watch, FS1, these other like mainstream shows. Like we know every little detail going on with our team. And so last year, covering the draft, it was like my first year, like going that deep into it. And I had a blast, man. We were doing, mock drafts, 3-hour, 4-hour shows, but it's really to give you the opportunity to dive into a lot of these college players, because people don't care about these players in the 5th round and 6th round sometimes, but they make just as big as a difference as the 1st round guys. I mean, you're already seeing it with us specifically in Osa, and you have Jabril Cox and some of these players that are kind of drafted later in the rounds, but they're having an instant impact. And so it's really fun to kind of dive in, do the scouting. One of my favorite articles I posted the other day was about Asante Samuel Jr. Because a lot of people were kind of out on Asante, and I was one of the few people that was beating the desk for him. And a lot of people were like, no, you're just being, because I'm a Florida State fan. So they're saying, no, you're just being biased, Tuck, you're just being biased. But, to kind of go back and pull up all those receipts, like maybe I was on to something, because, I watch these players, you watch hours of film, And it's a really a fun process, man. Like I'm looking forward to that. I don't want to look past the season, but I really can't wait to draft season because it really brings you closer to the game of football.
No,
For
for sure.
sure, exactly. So what are your goals in the future? I mean, 1 year, 5 years down, I mean, how do you want to build your brand? How far do you want it to go? I mean, what's kind of your vision for the future?
That's crazy, man, because no one has asked me that question publicly. So it's a great question. And I was just, I don't know. And so a lot of people think it might be like bigger media platforms, maybe be on ESPN or Fox Sports, but I really don't think it's going to be that. I think what my end game would be for me personally would be player development. So, I've been talking to a few NFL agents. I'm trying to kind of get up in that network because I feel like, public relations, doing those type of things, it really puts both of my worlds together with sports, but also team and player management. So that's really, that would probably be my end game. But as of right now, it's just enjoying the ride. I think a lot of people rush to get old. In some situations, they want the next thing. And it's not always green on the other side. And so being a content creator, being a freelance writer, and like partnering with people you want to partner with, it gives you that freedom because it doesn't feel like a job to me. And so, being able to travel out to Oxnard or go out to Tampa and just do these things on my own accord, and I'm not really tied to how I interact because, you guys see me on Twitter. If I'm with a corporate structure, I probably wouldn't be able to interact the way I do on Twitter. I probably, come off more commercial, more, kind of fake, I would say. So I like being independent, but I think my end game would be player management, getting involved with players, whether it's the financial situations, public relations, or just being team involved. So I think that's what's going to be my end game ultimately. So
I like that. I like how you mentioned like you like doing it because it's not strict right now. Like you're kind of freelancing, you're doing your own
Right.
thing, and that's what makes it fun. And
Right.
I think a lot of people don't get that memo in life. They tend to get into jobs that they'll never fall in love with, they'll never enjoy
Right.
doing. And so I
Right.
think that's awesome. That is
Yeah,
very awesome.
you never want to hop on a show or do a content. You're just like, oh, I don't feel like doing it. It's like, why? Like, no, like it's like you guys hit me up, like let's do it. Like
Exactly. Then like why are you doing it if you don't want to do it?
Exactly, man.
I actually wanted to ask you this question because I saw it on your Instagram story. I forget what you captioned it. You said something about like always on the grind or something, and you were on. I'm guessing it was the all 22 pass watching film.
Hmm. Yeah.
Kind of describe that. I kind of want to get into that. And so, what's the pricing for that, and like what does that look like, and how often do you use that tool?
Well, it's a lot harder to get a hold of this year for some reason. So it used to be like $100 to get a hold of it on the NFL Game Pass, but for some reason they pulled it away. And so what were happening that you have to use like, different resources and people around the NFL and different media avenues to even get a hold of it. But luckily I knew a few guys that were able to send it over to me because it's scarce right now because the NFL has pulled it off their platform. And so, they say it's going to come back. I don't know, but having the all 22, it makes a difference, because a lot of people say, you see it on Twitter, watch the film. I watch the film. There's a difference between sitting at a Hooters or Buffalo Wild Wings, drinking beers, eating wings, and watching the football game and think you got it versus sitting down and actually crunching it play by play and seeing what was really going on and what was that player's responsibility. Because the all 22, it never lies. They call it the eye in the sky here to play football, right? It doesn't lie. It tells you the truth. And so you're able to kind of go back and you can actually build these conversations about that. Like I just dropped a video a second ago about the Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, and it really went from the all 22, like what's the strengths, what's the weaknesses between the both, but how can they work, in a collaborative effort. So all 22 is important, but it also helps advance your skill set. Like if you're going to do this, do it for real. I never wanted to be one of those guys that just kind of sit on the couch and just talk from my hip about the Cowboys, not really knowing anything, because there are guys out there for other teams who remain unnamed, right? They just kind of just talk, right? They get loud, they yell in front of a camera, and it sounds like wherever they're saying is right. But I wanted to advance my skill set where I can talk analytics, I can talk contract, I could break down film, I could talk about a route tree, I could, do these different concepts because it helped advance me. So now when I go on these Eagles shows, and I got Screaming Larry, chirping at me. It's real easy because I know he hasn't watched film. He hasn't looked at the statistics. He really doesn't know anything. And I slowly start pulling that onion back and he starts to look stupid on cam. So, yeah.
Works out for the best.
Yeah, exactly, man. So it's all about advancing your skill set. I tell people, in this industry, never stop growing. You know, if you're just going to be a podcaster, dibble in writing. You know, don't have to write a lot, but you know, try writing a little bit. You know, try being in front of camera, like try different things. And as you grow, you'll find out what works and what doesn't work. You know, I know some people who they can't do live shows, and me, I personally do better at live shows than I do pre-recorded shows. You know, so you'll start to find your lane and what works for you, and your fan base and your supporters will tell you like, nah, Tuck, that was horrible, don't do that again. So
Yeah, and I think a big part of what you were talking about is just kind of getting outside your comfort zone at first. I don't know about you, but I'm sure at first when you're first, putting content out, you were probably, maybe you weren't, but maybe you were just a little bit nervous, or you were like, man, this is something I've never done. What if it goes bad? So, I mean, was that something that you had to deal with, kind of getting outside your comfort zone, and maybe talking on camera or talking in front of people might have been a little uneasy for you at first?
Not talking on camera or talking on a microphone. I was comfortable with that aspect, but it's hard when you're doing a live show and there's nobody watching. You know, and that's the thing. Like, I would do a YouTube show and I would literally tell my kids, like, all right, go upstairs and get on your tablet and at least like watch to make sure this is working. You know, because if you're one of these come across my channel and you look at my show, but there's 0 people watching, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm not watching this. And like, at least you got 3 people watching, but you slowly start to build that platform. And you went from 3 people, and all of a sudden you get 1 random viewer, and it's like, okay, my name's Kevin or whatever. You know, I'm from Ohio. You build a relationship with that one, do a show next week. Now it's 2 people, and then you know, now you do shows that might be 300 or 400 people interacting, and it kind of gives you that self-fulfillment. It's like, all right, I built this from scratch. You know, like honestly, when I started the Cowboys fans only idea, it was a joke, but a lot of people, you know, kind of counted me out. I was like, it's never going to work because no one's going to want to only fans for Cowboys. And I was just like, yeah, it is. And I'm going to pull it off. You know, like I kind of took that as a, you know, as a pride, like, all right, no one says it's going to work. Everyone's going to change the name, change the look. I was like, nope, I'm going to do it my way, the way I want to do it. It's funny to me. I'm going to keep it. And now a lot of people know it. And a lot of people don't even know where the joke actually comes from. So it's like, it's kind of rewarding that aspect to kind of see it that way.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I hear it from you talking that you're passionate about it, and, you're hardworking, and at the end of the day, you're doing what you love, and you could care less what other people, are talking about. So that's awesome. Yeah. Another thing I was going to ask you, I seen on your YouTube, you kind of mentioned the little Philly talk. I hate Philly too, because I'm a Bears fan, and I was actually at the game where Parkey double doinked it. So it was and honestly, Eagle fans are just as bad as Bear fans when it comes to yapping and stuff like that. But I was gonna ask, how do you get your ideas for content? I mean, do they come up from games? Do they come up from people on Twitter saying you should do this? Where do you kind of go and get your ideas?
Yeah, another good question, man. Like I always say, there's a separation, and I think a lot of Cowboys fans and just people in this industry don't understand it yet. There's content creators and there's reporters, and I consider myself a content creator, meaning I can go to because I wake up at 4 a.m. every day, and so I can get up, get on the treadmill, lift weights, work out, and get this random idea in my head and tweet it, and it can cause mass hysteria that everyone's talking about. Versus a reporter has to sit back and wait and say, okay, J-Ron Curse is going to be out from COVID. Then they pull out their laptop and equipment, and they report what they saw. But I feel like a lot of people don't understand the power that we have in just the Twitter community or social media community, because I saw that earlier on. I would see, before I even started this, a simple tweet that I would say, and all of a sudden we see the radio station now talking about the same idea that we were just talking about randomly in a random conversation. So Cowboys Twitter don't understand that we set the tone, and I always say that we influence the culture. I think a lot of people don't see that, but we do, because if I say, you know what, Anthony Brown needs to be benched and Kelvin Joseph needs to start next week, right? And then Bryce, you come in and say, yeah, and everyone's talking about it, retweeting. What you'll probably see in a lot of Cowboys media and outside media is like, should Kelvin Joseph be starting over Anthony Brown? You know what I'm saying? So but it really came from us. When you see trending topics, it started from someone's idea and kind of builds like that. And so when it comes to my content, a lot of it's just my ideas, but it comes from watching film. I might sit back and watch film and think, all right, well, could we move Micah Parsons to defensive end? Should we just play a 3-4? Like, and that's where it starts to stem from. So it's doing the homework, doing the research, and putting your own creative ideas out there. Now, it's not easy. You have to stand on it sometimes, and you're by yourself and everyone's calling you crazy and you're delusional, you don't know what you're talking about. But then when it starts to come back and make sense, let those receipts fly, man. That's what people kind of saw yesterday. I'm saying all these great things about Asante, and like, yeah, they call me crazy, but not how crazy am I?
Yeah.
So
Exactly. No,
Mhm.
we've definitely learned about a lot about you so far, and I kind of want to. I'm eager to get into this NFL talk before.
Yeah.
But before I do that, I kind of want to ask you now, like, what's your advice for this podcast? Like, now that you've kind of been on the show a little bit, what's your advice for us?
Yeah, man. I just stay true to yourself. That's the most part, man. And just have fun. And it comes out like you guys have to have fun. You have to have a solid relationship. And like I said, content. Get your stuff out everywhere, whether it's t-shirts, whether you're on campus and you're passing out flyers. Like, you really have to be rooted. And like, there's a difference between being a hobbyist and almost like a business owner. And think of it as like a business owner. Like, I want everybody to know you guys already have sponsors. Like, you're thinking in that stratosphere. It's just getting the more people aware of it, talking about it, and doing things the right way and being genuine. Everything will take off, man. Because I think what happens is a lot of people see the end game, right? They look at Skywalker, they look at Law Nation, like, I just want to be that. Well, there's no shortcuts. There's a lot of steps
It's a
to get
process.
there. And are you willing to do those steps to get there? Like, there's really no off days, especially with the Cowboys. Like, there's no off days.
No.
And so I know a lot of people get into it. Okay, it's real fun right now because now it's easy. Like, the season's going on. All right, we play the Eagles. We can make tons of videos about that. But when it drops off and there's nothing really to talk about, like, that really shows what you're really about. Are you going to talk about free agency? Are you going to break down DeMarcus Lawrence's contract and see that we can get out of it? Are you going to do draft content? Some people, they disappear in February, and all of a sudden, like in June, the camp starts like, oh, I'm back. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. So you really have to be rooted. But like I said, you guys are off to a great start. Continue to do what you're doing. Be sincere and just go hard, man.
Appreciate that very much.
So, what's a fun fact about you? What's something that not a lot of people would know? What's something that not everyone knows about you that is just something interesting or something you really don't talk about, I guess?
I mean, I think interesting thing, I'm actually a quiet person. I think that throws a lot of people off. Like, I really don't talk much, but people see me on Twitter and they think that, I just talk nonstop and I'm just open. Like, I'm really just a kind of a quiet, chill person. I don't do much. I don't know what people, I share a lot. I share a lot of my life on Instagram, on Twitter. Like, that's always just kind of been me because I want someone that maybe if you're going through a bad day or going through something, maybe you can pull some energy from Tuck.
Yep.
Tuck's up at 4 a.m. He's ready to go. Fine, I'm gonna go to. So I'm always kind of that person that want to be uplifting, lift the next person because I've been there. I've been in situations where you felt hopeless and you're down and going through different situations in life, and you just need someone to kind of be that ripple effect. And so that's ultimately what I want to be. And that's why, my ending slogans always stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged, and go Cowboys, because I want someone to be like, if you can get anything out of my show, at least you can get that last 3 lines of just staying safe, staying blessed, and stay encouraged, and go Cowboys. If you just get that little nugget, man, I feel like I've done my part. Something interesting that people don't know. I'm just trying to think. A lot of people know I used to have a music career. So I used to be a rapper. I used to tour with a few artists and produce and DJ. Worked in radio.
We're gonna need a collab with Kelvin Joseph.
I know. Yeah. Kelvin Joseph isn't too happy at me right now, just to say the least, man. Like, he sees my he sees my Asante tweets, and he's kind of responded a few times. Music career. I think that's about it, man. I'm trying to think what some people don't know.
So let me ask you this. I know you kind of mentioned earlier that you couldn't even imagine rooting for another team. If you couldn't be a Cowboys fan and there were no longer a team, would you come to the dark side of Chicago, or what team would you go to? I mean, I'm not saying, I know being a diehard fan, it's like your team and nothing else.
Right.
But if there was no Cowboys, who would you be a fan of?
Well, easily I can just migrate over to Kansas City and just, ride that way for the next few years and then right off into the sunset. But honestly, I always say that I'm like a Steelers fan in a Cowboys body. And I feel like I did like this like aptitude test, like what team should you be rooting for? And like the Steelers, like tradition, culture, hard hitting, it's just like very blue collar. And it's like that's something I always wanted in Dallas. So I'm either going to be a Steelers fan or a Ravens fan. But personally, I would think I would probably be a Steelers fan if it wasn't the Cowboys, because I think that just fits my mindset. It's just hard work. You might be undermanned, you get things done, you fight to the end. Because I think the thing about Mike Tomlin is like, even though like Big Ben might be out, they're always going to compete. They're always going to be playing hard. They're always going to give you 100%. So I would probably say the Steelers.
All right, Carter, now that you asked him that question, how about you answer it?
Yeah. Going to the Cowboys, man.
If I wasn't a Bears fan, my dad I was born a Bear fan. I bleed blue and orange because my dad. But my dad's actually he's kind of like you. He's a huge Steeler fan if he wasn't a Bears fan. To be honest, I'd probably I don't know. Not maybe New England.
Okay.
Patriots.
I think I could get down with New England.
I could tell you who I'm riding with. It would definitely be the Rams.
Rams.
And I say that because I'm a big McVay guy. I know I'm an aspiring football coach. Like that's my goal with this. And kind of taking a deep dive into McVay's offensive side and the genius within him.
Right.
And then adding Stafford now this year, it's fun, electric. It's in LA now, so I'd say that mine would probably be Rams. But now that
I can see that as well, because I like the Rams because they're all in. Like, when they win, it's like, you know what, Jalen Ramsey's disgruntled. Let's go get him. Like, I don't care. Just pay for him. Go get him. Like Matt Stafford, go get him. Like, Cowboys are yet to come. That's how it used to be. Back in the day. Deion Sanders was available. Jerry said, "I'm going to get that," but it ain't like that no more.
Well, speaking of going and get them, I want to ask you a question. Now that we've kind of transitioned into this NFL talk, Dorrance Armstrong with the Cowboys out. What the timetable looks like 4 to 6, but maybe could be 3. So now, are we gonna go and get a D lineman? Are we gonna go pick up a pass rusher? Because we're moving Parsons D end. I mean, he looked decent. He looked good. He's an athletic freak. But what are we gonna do with this D line? Everyone's getting hurt or getting COVID.
Yeah, it feels like it's like the kiss of death, because I said like, I tweeted today. I was like, Dorrance Armstrong's looking strong, starting to find his groove, and it's like, all right, well, he's out, and with this COVID situation, it's like every week it's a coin flip. Unfortunately, I don't think the Cowboys are going to address the defensive line because it's the edge rushers. So I think that Parsons is probably going to remain on the edge for a little bit. We do get Randy Gregory coming back. You have Basham coming back, or Basham out there. Bradley and I, who played well, and I love Bradley and I as a pass rusher. You also had Kamara, who got some reps. So I think it's really going to be just trial by fire. I don't think they're going to go get there's really not any big name edge rushers out there, because they're going to just try to buy time until DeMarcus Lawrence comes back. And now the real question we have to go through is like seeing what Micah Parsons did. Like, what does that look like? Like, it remains to be unseen, because I know it's only one game, but I think that they're going to try to hold tight until everyone comes back. I think the conversations that Gallimore could be coming back next week for the Panthers game. So that gives us a lift. You have Tristan Hill kind of still tucked for about a few more weeks as well. Osa's been playing great. You have Urban Watkins. So as Stephen Jones will say, I like our in-house guys.
I like our guys.
In-house guys. Yeah, I don't think they're going to make a move anytime soon, unfortunately. So I don't see it. Like if they bring in anybody, I think they just brought someone off the practice squad. It may have been Hamilton. So I think they just moved him up for Dorrance Armstrong. So don't get too excited.
Now I want to get a little controversial. I know Carter and I go back and forth about Dak Prescott all the time. So I want him to chime in on this.
You're gonna throw me in the spot, huh?
Where do you rank Dak Prescott, JTuck? Out of all the quarterbacks, 1 through 32, what number is he?
I would probably have him at 4.
What's your reaction to that, Carter?
Personally, I don't think he's top 5. Fantasy, maybe. And then me and Bryce go back and forth with that. Am
So
I a
run,
hater?
run it down.
Maybe.
Run it down. So who's your top five then?
So top five for me, Mahomes,
Right.
Lamar.
Lamar
I'd put
two.
Lamar in there.
Okay, you're not going in order then.
No, I'm not in order. I'm not in
Okay.
order.
Okay.
Josh Allen.
Interesting.
No, Josh
Yeah,
Allen's not top five.
I'm just
Okay.
listening. I'm just listening. I'm just listening.
Justin Fields. I'm just kidding. I Tom Brady's got to be top five. I don't think anyone will argue that.
All time. I mean, he ain't top 5 quarterback in the league right now.
Right. We're talking about today.
Aaron Rodgers,
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Russell Wilson. No,
Me, not anymore.
And so
but
yeah.
I think he is. I think he is, and I mean, Josh Allen too. I mean, Brady just won a Super Bowl coming from it. I mean, it'd be hard not to say he's still not top 5 in the league.
It helps when your defense carries you.
Right.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, we all know Brady's a great, and he's the greatest quarterback of all time. When you come over from one team to the next and you win the Super Bowl, I mean, I don't care how good your defense is. I mean, that takes leadership, and I think all those qualities is what makes him still the best. Is yeah, he's got a great team, but so do a lot of. I mean, look at the Chiefs team. Look at the talent the Cowboys have. I mean, you could argue they have one of the, as far as talent goes on the offense, they're definitely up there with the most talent. So I just think, personally, I think Tom Brady's there 100%. And he still proves that he can get it done at 45 years old, whatever he is. I mean, it's just incredible. So I have to put him up there. I'm interested to see kind of what you guys think about that. I saw some weird looks, but that's what I'm here for.
JTuck, who do you got ahead of Dak?
So I got Mahomes, of course, Rodgers, and I can have the conversation about Brady because I understand it. I understand, but I'm just thinking about, if you think about Tom Brady, like today, 2021, like he's 44 years old. He's, like he isn't what he used to be, but with the cerebral aspect of it, he's still a legit weapon. So if you want to take Tom Brady, okay, I'll put Tom Brady at 3. But after that, like it really comes down to conversation for me personally between Russ and Dak. And I feel like right now, Dak is trending up when Russ has kind of hit his head, and we know what Russ is. And so I feel like we're going to see a new version of Dak. And I felt like we saw that playing versus Tampa, and we also saw that versus the Chargers, where I can carve you up for 50 throws if I need to, or I can kind of sit back and just cherry pick you apart and let the offense come to us. So you're starting to see that new layer of Dak Prescott right now. So I got him at 4, definitely top 5, like top 5 for dang sure. Like, so if you want to put Russell Wilson because of the Super Bowl and everything kind of going on, all right, cool, I'll take that. But Dak Prescott would definitely be taking over Josh Allen, Herbert, these kind of young toy quarterbacks I know everyone is excited about, but they ain't proven enough, not yet.
Okay.
Especially Lamar too. Like we don't like Lamar. Like
yeah, he's still got a little bit to work on with the throwing.
He does.
I don't like the Lamar slander. I'm a Lamar guy.
Right.
I love to see him knock off the Chiefs and be 1-3 against them now. Like that was nice. But
I do think I'm going to say one thing quick, Bryce. I do think Josh Allen's one of those players, though, where you said Russ has kind of hit his head. I think Josh Allen, I don't think he's hit his head yet. He might be not as talented as Dak yet, but I think he's one of those players that, I mean, just the last couple of years, you've seen him grow consistently. Like each year he's gotten better. And I think the Bills are a scary team. I'm not saying that they're going to go and win the Super Bowl, but I think they definitely are going to be tough in that AFC division. Just because of the good team they are, but also I think Josh Allen's a tough quarterback, and he can pick you apart, throw it downfield, or he'll run you over too. So I like his play style. And I think he's got a lot of room to grow, but I think his cap is pretty high. I don't think he's hit that yet.
All right. Well, I got 2 more topics I want to cover. with this NFL talk. And the first topic is I want JTuck to be the only one to answer this. I know he's a Cowboys fan, but you obviously have looked into college football. You know stuff about that. So what is the ceiling for Justin Fields? Where's he going to end up ranking in your personal outlook?
Yeah, I feel like Justin Fields is going to be a phenomenal talent. I feel like Justin Fields, honestly, is going to be the best quarterback in this draft. And I said that when I was covering the draft. So I don't understand what happened, why he slid. I know there was kind of some instances about health or whatnot, but I feel like when you look at it from a nutshell, I feel like he was the more complete, and that's over Trey Lance. I personally wasn't a fan of Zach Wilson. And also wasn't really a fan of Mac Jones, either. So when I looked at the quarterbacks, I was like, Justin Fields is the best out of all of these guys. So I feel like he'll be, at the top in his class. And I feel like you'll probably won't see it instantly. I feel like he's going to be like the Dak Prescott rookie year, where the Bears are going to drastically improve, especially if he starts on Sunday. You're going to see them improve. You're going to see the team rally around him, but you'll slowly start to see him creep up that ladder when it's just like, why didn't we draft this kid? Especially if you're the Falcons or the Broncos. So yeah, I would say that probably by next year, he'll be in the discussion, like, top 25-ish, top 20-ish. But as of right now, he has a lot to prove. But I feel like the Bears are a lot better team with Justin Fields as their quarterback than Andy Dalton.
I like that. I agree 100% too. I said the same thing about Fields. With I'm personally, I said going into the draft, I believe that he was better than Lawrence. And the only reason I said that is because I knew the situation Lawrence was going into. I knew the outlook of his career. I mean, he's not going to just get let go by Jacksonville. He's going to be there for a while.
Right.
And Fields, I think, has a higher trajectory because of the team he got selected by.
Right.
But the last thing I want to ask both of you, before we wrap this one up, Super Bowl predictions. What do we got? Regardless of take out the Cowboys fan, take out the Bears fan mentality. Who are you guys rocking with Super Bowl champ this year?
JTuck, you go first.
Oh man. If I had to bet the house on it, they're gonna have another parade here in Kansas City. I just feel like what Kansas City has with their offense and Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, it's just way too much for a lot of teams. Now it's going to be a lot more difficult than probably the past few years to get there. But I feel like once they get there, they're definitely going to have blood in their mouth from last season, what happened versus Tampa. And if I had to say who they're going to be playing against, I don't believe Tampa's going to pull it off again. I would have to go with your fake team, Bryce, and the Rams. I feel like it might be between the Rams and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, because I feel like Matt Stafford adds that extra layer of being able to run that offense more efficient, like Sean McVay likes, to be able to tackle down the field. They got some weapons. Granted, I hate Deshaun Jackson, but Tutu Atwell, Cooper Kupp, like a lot of these players. Now they got to fix their run game because the running backs continue to get hurt. But with their defense, and you add Matthew Stafford, I feel like the Rams are going to be a scary team in the playoffs. So if I had to pick, I would say Chiefs over the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Which will be fun because the Rams will be at home technically, and they'll be the home team losing.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, but
which you saw that last year with Tampa playing at home too, which would be kind of interesting. In 2 years in a row, it'd be kind of weird.
Exactly.
But I am going to put the Rams in the Super Bowl, but I'm going to have a twist on it. I'm going to put the Ravens in there too. Rams, Ravens, and I liked what the Ravens were able to do against Kansas City this past week, in the sense that if they slow the game down, they're more successful when they utilize their run game and not try to take these deep shots with Lamar. It's not going to work for them. It's not who they are. And I think the more they can keep Mahomes off the field, which is the same for any team, the more you keep him off the field, the more you have a chance to win. But personally, I think the X factor will be Lamar Jackson no matter what. And I think he can take over a game in the end of a game when you need him to. So I'm going to roll with the Rams beating the Ravens in the Super Bowl. Who we got, Carter?
I think Tampa Bay can run it back. I honestly do.
Tom Brady rider.
I'm riding it. You know what? Because I'm a Bears fan. Everyone knows that. And when I look at, I think they're the same exact team. Obviously Kansas City. I think it could be Kansas City and Tampa Bay again. I honestly do. That'd be kind of crazy if it did. But when I look, I I think the Rams and the Tampa Bay would be an amazing matchup. That'd be such a fun game to watch. At the end of the day, I still can't bet against Tom Brady until he proves
Right.
me otherwise. And I know that's kind of like Bryce said, kind of riding that wave, but I really do think they could run it back. Um, if I didn't have to say Tampa, I'd say Kansas City. So I definitely think it's going to be them two again. Um,
All right.
and I'm going with Tampa Bay again. So until Brady proves me wrong, I'm still going for him. So
All right. Well, I like and respect all the answers. I
No, man,
enjoyed.
the Cowboys, man. The Cowboys are gonna win.
I'd
I was
love to
also
say
going to
so.
ask you one thing quick, JTuck. Obviously being fans of your teams, you're passionate. You think, I know being a Bears fan, I have certain opinions on the Bears and what we need to do. Looking from the outside in as a Cowboy fan, what do you see has been the issue with the Bears, and how do you think we can implement Fields in a position where he can, succeed and excel and not kind of fall into the Bears quarterback trap that we've seen so often with great talent come in?
Yeah, I think the best thing that can really happen for you guys is Andy Dalton actually going down, because I felt like Nagy's ego was going to prevent Justin Fields from actually getting reps this season. But I feel like your team is going to look a lot different. We even got glimpses of it in preseason, like when Fields came out on the field. Actually, like the team's like a different spark. The offense is moving more efficient. So I feel like you guys are going to be in a good spot. And also with your division, I mean, you really just kind of have Green Bay in the way. As far as I'm concerned. So, Aaron Rodgers, is he happy? Does he want to be there? You never know who you're going to get. And so I feel like there's going to be a lot more opportunity for you guys to be a lot more efficient than you were last year. So I would definitely just let Justin Fields be the starter moving forward. Now, what can derail that is like, oh, Andy Dalton pops up and says, you know what, I'm fine, I can play. And then Nagy's like, all right, we're going to pull Fields. But knowing Browns fans, if Fields come out on Sunday, he shows out, it's going to be the end of the conversation. It's kind of like what Cowboys fans went through with Dak and Romo at the time. It's like Dak played so dang good, you cannot
Can't take him off the
take
field.
him out.
No,
So I feel like
I
Justin
agree.
Fields, once he gets that opportunity, is not going to let go, which is going to be in the Bears' best benefit.
For sure. I like that. All right. So I had a blast on this this episode tonight. Thank you, JTuck, for joining us. We greatly
Thank you guys for
appreciate it,
having
Yep,
man.
me.
appreciate it. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, anytime, man. Likewise, I'd like to have you guys on my show one night, and
I'm
we'll
100%
run
down.
it back.
Hey, I'm down this Sunday after the Cowboys, or this Monday after the
Monday.
Cowboys win.
Yeah, it's going to be a
I'm
fun
ready to
game.
go.
I actually be traveling out there, man. So a lot of events going on. Saturday I have the event with Jalen Smith and a few players. So
I did see that.
and then I had to check my calendar. I think I have 2 events Saturday and then 1 on Sunday and then a tailgate on Monday. So it's going to be fun, man. And that's something I really missed last year, is just not being around Cowboys fans. So I'm excited to get out and meet everybody and have fun and beat these damn Eagles, man.
I feel you 100%. I hate Eagles fans, but like I said, appreciate you, man. This episode will be dropping Friday, so enjoy this episode. We got episode 55 coming your way next week. We will see you then. But until then, Gronk spike the subscribe button for us.